Have you ever tried to help someone, but somehow ended up making everything so much worse? Well, today we're diving into a classic fable about just that. It's a story about a group of very enthusiastic, very well-meaning, and, as you'll see, very destructive monkeys.
So, let's start with the verse that just sums it all up. This comes from an ancient text called the Aramadusaka Jataka. And what it's saying is basically this: trying to do good without any real understanding doesn't bring happiness. In fact, you can end up wrecking the very thing you're trying to help, just like a monkey in a garden. It's a really powerful idea, and the story behind it is one you won't forget. All right, so let's set the scene. We're in the ancient city of Benares. A massive citywide festival has just been announced, and pretty much everyone is buzzing with excitement. Everyone, that is, except for the royal gardener. He's got a bit of a problem. See, he can't just up and leave. He's got all these new, young saplings that desperately need to be watered. But man, he really wants to go to that festival. So he's looking around, trying to figure out what to do, when he spots the troop of monkeys that live in the park. And he gets an idea. A wild idea. He's going to ask them for a favor. So the gardener goes up to the monkey leader, explains his dilemma, and the monkeys, oh, they are absolutely thrilled to help. They love the garden, it's their home. They promise up and down that they'll take perfect care of the little trees while he's gone. The gardener, totally relieved, hands them the watering cans and dashes off to the festival. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, as you might have guessed, a lot. This is where good intentions meet a complete lack of wisdom. The monkey leader, he wants to do a good job. He even wants to be efficient and save water. So he comes up with a plan that, to him, seems perfectly logical. But in reality, it's about to be an absolute disaster.
Okay, so you've got to hear this plan. The monkey leader tells his crew, to save water, we can't just guess how much each plant needs. So first, we'll pull up every single tree. Then we look at the roots. If the roots are long and deep, give it a lot of water. If they're short and shallow, just give it a little. To the monkeys, this sounded like genius-level thinking, so they got right to work. And wow, this just lays it all out, doesn't it? Look at the gap between what they wanted to do and what actually happened. Their intention, to help the gardener. The result? The garden was completely destroyed. Their intention, to conserve water. The result? Every single one of the young saplings died. So, right in the middle of all this chaos, a wise man just happens to be walking past the garden. He sees the monkeys diligently pulling up trees one by one, checking the roots, giving them a little water, and then just tossing them aside. He asks them what on earth they think they're doing, and they so proudly explain their leader's brilliant water-saving plan. The wise man just shakes his head and recites that verse we started with, seeing exactly what was happening. Good intentions, paired with foolishness, leading to pure destruction. But here's the thing, this wasn't just some made-up story about silly animals. The Buddha actually told this fable for a very specific reason, to explain something that was happening in the real world, right in front of his followers. So the Buddha and his monks were walking through a village, and they came across this garden that had a big, weird, barren patch in it. They asked the owner what happened, and he told them this story about a well-meaning kid who had offered to help water the new plants. And guess what the boy did? The exact same thing as the monkeys. He pulled up every sapling to check its roots and give it the right amount of water, killing them all in the process. Hearing this, the Buddha explained that this wasn't just a coincidence. This was a pattern repeating itself across lifetimes. He told his monks that the boy who destroyed that garden in the present day was, in a past life, the very same monkey leader who destroyed the royal garden all those years ago. The exact same mistake, driven by the same foolish good intentions. And just to make the lesson absolutely clear, the Buddha spelled it all out. The foolish monkey leader from the past had been reincarnated as the garden-destroying boy in the present. And that wise man, the one who saw the destruction and knew exactly why it was happening, that was a past life of the Buddha himself. Okay, so this is where the story pivots and points right back at us. It's really easy to laugh at the monkeys, right? But this tale is meant to be a mirror. It's supposed to make us ask ourselves a pretty tough question about our own lives. I mean, really think about it for a second. One of you jumped in to give a friend advice, totally sure you knew what was best for them without really listening. Or maybe at work you rolled out a helpful new system without ever talking to the people who actually have to use it every day. We all do it. We all have our monkey gardener moments where we act on what we assume is needed instead of what's actually needed. So what's the big lesson here? The story isn't saying don't help people, not at all. It's saying help wisely. Good intentions are just the starting line. Real, effective help comes from taking the time to understand the situation, to listen, to learn. It's about checking the soil before you start ripping out the roots. Ultimately, that's what this ancient fable is really challenging us to do. It's asking us to level up our kindness, to pair our compassion with curiosity, to match our desire to do good with the wisdom to make sure our actions actually lead to good results. That's how we go from being a monkey gardener to a wise one.
Thank you so much for joining us. As this story reminds us to always try and act with both kindness and wisdom, we want to leave you with a simple, heartfelt wish that comes from the very culture that gave us this timeless tale. ขอให้ทุกท่านจงมีความสุข May you all be happy.